Angela.
We look different.
We do. We look way more professional.
We do. That is always our goal, to look more professional than we actually are.
Fair.
We're compensating, honestly.
Fair.
We are here to talk about perhaps one of the most exciting things, humans, that I personally would love to talk about, other than my children, my family, or the refit community. Next in line would definitely be the queen
Herself.
the American royalty, purple, of course, and that is the entity, the power, the myth, the legend, the mastermind, Taylor Swift.
Yes, the mastermind. Wait, ready? Nope.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we have buttons. That's
We have
so
buttons
fun.
now. This is an applause button.
I love it.
Yeah.
I said earlier before we started recording, it's a very male-dominated audience.
It is. There needs to be more women in this applause track.
But actually, I would say, and we're jumping ahead a little bit, but we'll get back there, because of Taylor's new presence in the NFL, it's likely that the male population is growing.
We'll start cheering.
Yes, as they should.
Yes.
But let's talk about why we are here talking about Taylor Swift today. It's not gratuitous. Of course, I would love to talk about her and, of course, to her. But we are here to talk about her today for a couple of reasons. Number one is that we are in the midst of launching a 10-day 10 for Taylor fitness challenge, and we are preparing for our upcoming Taylor Swift fitness concert. And so in light of those two events, we thought it would be an important journey to take our community members on to talk about why Taylor.
Yeah.
Why do we love her? Why are we obsessed with her?
And when did that start? And it was so
How did
quick.
it start?
Yes. It
Yes.
just kind of the background, the behind the music, as VH1 used to say, the background info of why Taylor, when Taylor, for us specifically.
How did the love happen?
Yes. How and when did the love for Taylor start, evolve, occur, and for some of us, renew?
Yeah, basically, how did we fall in love with her? And I want to stop right here, though, because we want to address two things before we even get started. Number one, what if people are in the don't love Taylor Swift camp? How do they approach this conversation? Do they just hit stop and stop
No,
listening?
I want to encourage you, if you don't love Taylor Swift, to stick around.
Okay.
She may be the Brussels sprouts of the 90s to you. Do y'all remember when everyone used to say things like, eat your Brussels sprouts, and that was a negative thing? Now, you know what everybody wants? Brussels sprouts.
Right.
Everybody wants Brussels sprouts with a little bit of balsamic, with a little bit of fish sauce, with a little bit of olive oil, butter. Like
Definitely roasted.
it got a rebrand.
Rebrand.
So I would say,
But Taylor's not a rebrand.
she's not. But
It's for the listeners to reframe.
exactly. So if we did an analogy, it would be
Way to go on the Brussels sprouts. That was really good.
yeah.
I feel like you've had that one waiting.
It's been locked and loaded. I did think about that the other day. I did think about how when I was a kid, it was like eat your Brussels sprouts was a negative thing, and now it's like a $19 appetizer.
It's almost like an elevated eating experience.
It
If
really
you know
is.
to order the Brussels sprouts, it's like instant street cred, or I guess I should say foodie cred.
which is why people need to have their minds open to this conversation.
Instant street cred.
Exactly.
Okay, so if you're not a Swiftie, stick around because you'll learn at least more about why Refit and Catherine and Angela specifically love Taylor Swift. And it's always good to find out more about what drives people's passions, what motivates them towards certain passions and interests. But the second thing that I wanted to say is I forgot actually.
That's part of the course, though. If you're nearing 40 or nearing 50,
Yes.
you might forget what you're going to say.
Okay.
There
okay.
it is.
No,
Go
I
back.
found it. I found it. It drove back by.
Good.
Okay. So we have Taylor obsessed. Then we have don't care for Taylor.
Right.
But then we have this third camp, and I want to talk to them because they've already come at us, the few vocal minority. And I just want to address it. If you are a Taylor hater,
Ooh.
if you have tasted the Taylor Haterade and
You poured it on your
like,
head.
yeah, and you like how it tastes,
You're into it.
You are. I just want to say this. You don't have to like Taylor Swift to still like us.
Yeah.
And just because you don't like Taylor Swift doesn't mean
we don't like you.
No, it doesn't mean that you throw us in that camp too.
Right.
I just want to say we've had a few. And when I say few, I mean less than 5.
Like 3.
Exactly.
Literally 3.
Emails, direct messages, people who are concerned about Refit's alignment with Taylor Swift, people who are concerned because they have heard that she's performing satanic rituals at her concerts, people who question her moral character. And here's what I want to say. True to the Refit spirit, painted on our wall at the Refit studio in HQ is the phrase, everybody belongs.
That's right.
And when we say everybody belongs, we don't just mean their physical body. We actually mean that their opinions, their preferences, the things that bring them joy, the things that they hate, all those things belong to.
Yeah.
And so if you're not a Swiftie, okay, but are you a Revie? And if you're a Revie, it means that you support Refit, that you love what we provide in terms of community, empowerment, engagement, belonging, and therefore it's okay for us to share some things that we love in the way that we would want and encourage you to share things that you love, even if we don't understand it.
Yeah, and you belong here with that opinion currently.
And so do we.
So do we. So that's why 2 things that might differ can exist in the same space at the same time.
Which is also called community.
Hey,
wow.
And here we are.
Not an echo chamber.
Not an echo chamber.
Important distinction. Okay,
Yes.
So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive on in and talk about, Catherine, I'm going to ask you this question.
Okay. Can't wait.
What is your earliest experience with Taylor Swift, and what album did that was that surrounded by?
I mean, I do remember her with her acoustic guitar. Okay, when we were singing "You Belong to Me" and those moments when she was this like child, basically. I think she had a MySpace account. I do remember that, but I would say that's not my. That wasn't my like. It solidified something for me.
Okay, so you don't have a first love moment with Taylor. You don't remember falling in love with her.
I do, but it wasn't when I first acknowledged her career. It was Red for me.
Okay.
So
what was it about Red?
Every lyric to every song on that album really resonated me in where I was in my life. And I remember when it came out in Target, it was like this big deal.
Correct. I had the same moment. You and I were friends, and I remember we both. Did we buy the album? I specifically remember standing in my kitchen and listening to top to bottom every song, which I had never done before with an album. And I agree, it was Red.
Yes. Yours was too? Was that your?
It was Red.
Yeah.
I was there. Yeah. Yes.
Was that your first moment? Or did you go back a little bit further to like her country roots?
I would say that's the first defining moment for me. Mm-hmm. It's where she got on my heart.
Okay.
In my heart. And then I have loved her most ever since. Now, there have been seasons in which certain albums came out that I didn't really, notice, or honestly, media coverage of her wasn't quite as rampant. And so she just wasn't on the forefront of my mind, right? We all go through different seasons in which we love different types of music. Maybe you go through a country era. Maybe you go through like an 80s hair band era. So there's been different moments in which Taylor has fallen off of my grid,
right,
so to speak. But she was on it for Red.
And she's back on it now.
Yeah, and I think, okay, let's...
You looking at her albums?
I am.
Me too.
I just wanted to know if there was a song specifically that you loved. I think Begin Again for you. Because was that in the middle of your divorce?
Yes. This album came out in 2012. So yes, it was like... It was honestly the end of my marriage, the beginning of the new season.
Yeah.
So Begin Again was definitely fitting. I almost do for sure. We are never getting back together. It's kind of nail on the head.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like her mainline hits were like, I Knew You Were Trouble. Mm-hmm. I think you had, what was the gift to me about this album was that the songs that they were playing on the radio weren't necessarily my favorites.
Yeah.
So,
and I find that to be true with a lot of Taylor songs because I think they get overplayed. Mm-hmm. And I do have more of the personality. Like if everybody's on the trend, I don't want the trend. Mm-hmm. But the songs within the album that aren't getting the radio play is where I think the real magic and the real gift is. And that's for me what motivated me to want to go to the Taylor Swift concert in the first place. I was not one of those that stood in line or that stayed on the phone for 24 hours waiting to purchase tickets. I wanted to go-ish, but I wasn't willing to jump through the hurdles that everybody else was running through because I wouldn't classify myself as a Swiftie at that point. But there was a moment that when I started seeing all of the social media hype from people attending her concerts and different snippets, I realized that most of Taylor Swift's albums from beginning to now have peppered and defined my life in some way, shape, or form. Each album almost is like a description of my life, whether it was my country era or whether it was me being a young mom or even now an older mom. But and so what I realized was this was a concert of my lifetime.
Yes.
And that I needed to go because I had such nostalgia attached to each era, to each album. So,
because you didn't go to the Reputation tour.
I've never been.
Yeah. So just for everybody's listening, you're literally hearing this budding love story happen. This was a slow burn. This wasn't a we're there from the beginning and we're in, and we know that for Swifties, some of you guys have been there since day one, and here we go.
Yeah.
You knew something we didn't. And we can say that. We can humbly say, you were right.
Right. And we will give you the throne.
Yes.
We're not trying
to fight for it.
I'm a new Swiftie, but now I'm a forever Swiftie, and I arrived late to the scene, and thanks for making room for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember, and if this is where you want to go, the concert, so her air tour started, and it happened in Arlington, which is 90 minutes from us. And I remember we both saw some footage. We saw the social media posts, and we're and you were like, I think I'm about to miss a tour of my lifetime. This
I was
is
trying to think of a bigger artist that was about to do what she was doing with music from a decade span of time that I had nostalgia for across all of those albums, and I couldn't think of any. The closest I would say would be something like Bon Jovi or New Kids on the Block.
Michael
but
Jackson.
they're not even currently making music, so
Right.
it's not even a fair analogy. The nostalgia is built in. It's not like I'm journeying with that artist, but Taylor continues to produce content that I love. So yes, we made the decision to go to Houston, and
a mere 20 days later.
okay,
I'm looking at her tour date. So she was in Arlington on April 2nd, and then in Houston on the 22nd. And so we had to scramble.
we were late to the game, and when you're late to the Taylor concert ticket game, you pay dearly.
You pay the money.
All the monies.
You pay lots of the monies. You don't get the $50
You pay
verified fan ticket.
You pay more monies than you've ever paid for a concert in your entire life. Here's what I will say. The cost of the single ticket that I paid for the Taylor Swift concert in Houston was more than the sum of all concert tickets I have ever paid for in my entire life.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
That's love.
Well, it was stupidity. It was stupidity initially and naivete, I think. I just didn't know, and it's what we had to do to go. But I will say, even on the trip down there, you and I had to drive to Houston separately because I think you had a doctor's appointment. But
My dad's birthday.
oh, that's right, your dad's birthday. So on the way to Houston, I remember thinking it felt like such an inconvenience to have to drive there and spend the night and, you know, get dressed up. And I really found that I was very annoyed by having to go. I even told you at one point, like, let's sell our tickets. We don't even have to go.
One point would be Thursday. You told me on Thursday, and I guess the concert was either Friday or Saturday. It was on Friday.
Yeah.
And on Thursday, you're like, hey, I don't think we should go. Let's just sell our tickets.
I know. I was just so burdened by the whole process. I was thinking about the crowds and walking to and from the stadium and, you know, standing in line for a drink. I was put out by all of it. I am a woman of convenience, and I will pay for all the conveniences. And what I paid for was just a ticket with no conveniences.
Fair.
So I was very, very challenging to myself in that moment. But we did it. You did a great job of making sure that we had easy transportation, that we were dropped off right at the AT&T Stadium. I had a
Reliant Stadium.
Oh, is it?
That's okay.
Where's
AT&T is in Arlington.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Reliant Stadium.
No, we were in Energy. We were at the Energy. It's the same thing. Yeah.
We don't.
A lot of electricity in Houston.
Yeah. But I had a great outfit. You had a great outfit. And the moment that we stepped onto the parking lot of the stadium, it was like we were transported. We stepped through the portal.
Yeah, we did.
Of Taylor Swiftdom. And
something happened.
We entered the force field, and now we can never get out. We don't want to.
Yeah, I think for me, the moment, and I remember you saying something, I was like, this is a wild social experiment. Mm-hmm. People from all different walks of life, all different backgrounds, all different ages, dressed up. I, for one, love a moment where I have an excuse to wear a costume, and that I often feel like alone in that moment. Mm-hmm. I looked around and everybody was in.
Yeah. And that's what has been so cool to see about these concerts. I mean, of course, Taylor has done a great job at cultivating her community, but also, sharing her journey with her fans, making her fans feel like they're a part of what she's doing. But what I loved about the concerts is that the fans, the community, they were creating moments of that experience that were beyond Taylor's control or beyond her direction. Mm-hmm. They were doing it themselves. So some examples of that is what you were just saying, that we all knew to get into costume. We showed up ready to play
in an era,
in the wardrobe scene, in an era. Yes, everyone was choosing their own era. I've never actually seen that happen at a concert before. Maybe I'm not that experienced in concerts, but when I've gone to other concerts, it's not. You might wear like a T-shirt.
Yeah, like the shirt you bought at the concert.
Correct.
Right.
Or maybe you attended a previous concert and you want to bring that vintage tee back out. Or if you're at a country concert, you're going to wear more country
cowboy
type
hat.
Yeah, exactly.
Boots.
I have never seen I mean, it's not this, but it's kind of like role play. Mm-hmm. It's like we all stepped into that alter ego of a specific era, young and old. Yeah.
It's like playing the game of life. Or like Candyland. Mm-hmm. You like Candyland when you're little and you like had this imaginative, creative, like I'm in this game.
I am the gingerbread man.
I am the candy cane right now. I am the gumdrop. Yeah. Like that's what I felt like we are all in this imaginative, created world that this person and her team, but her vision created for us to play in.
Yeah. In essence, we all became like part of the stage,
yes.
Seeing people's outfits. So that was really cool. And then the other really cool thing that I think was created by her fans were the things that you shout at the concert.
We had to look that up on the TikTok.
We did.
We didn't know what they were.
Yeah. And so fans decided, and I don't know who was the
initial fan that was like, hey, this is when we scream this.
Right. So if you've been or when you go, there are certain parts of certain songs that when Taylor sings a certain lyric, the fans then interject what they have decided needs to be said. And it's the coolest thing. I knew a few things to yell, but not everything to yell. But man, what I knew to yell.
We were yelling it.
I was yelling. Yeah, we were yelling at full send. There was no holding back.
If you're questioning at all our dedication or our desire to be a Swiftie, I hope you know that we were immediately informed about a spreadsheet that was being passed around during the time that it was created by a fan. And on that spreadsheet showed every venue, every set list, and then every surprise song that she played to date. And
yes. And side note, the surprise song, Taylor Swift gives her fans 2 surprise songs at every concert. And there's some rules applied. It's never a repeated surprise song. So every venue, every night at that venue, if it's if it's a multi-night venue, everybody gets their own surprise songs. Yes. And the only exception is that if she messes up a surprise song, she will repeat it later at an undisclosed time. So it's kind of like an artist giving you a gift, which Taylor is so good at doing those Easter egg moments. So yeah, that spreadsheet had that information. It also showed if she ever removes songs or changes the set list. I know when her and Joe broke up sort of during the tour, one of the songs got dropped apparently because it was a song that she wrote for him and then it was too hard for her to sing. So that got removed off the spreadsheet.
And Style was played longer in one venue. The reason I bring that up is anybody out there been to a concert and looking at a spreadsheet?
Right.
Just to let's pull back and take a step back at that's where we were at.
Yeah.
We were in.
That is what this cult-like phenomenon is.
Yes.
And I want to use the word cult carefully because it's not like a satanic cult.
And it's not an evil cult, but culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, what I can say is that we stepped into the force field from the costumings to the crowd. Every moment of that experience was such a unified collective moment. Everybody understood what they were there for, who they were there for, and how they were supposed to be.
Yeah.
It was so friendly. There was so much joy. It would not have surprised me if I started holding hands with the people beside me and skipping into the stadium. I mean, it was just the palpable positivity was contagious.
I did have a funny moment, and then I do want to talk about the show itself and then why we went back. There are predominantly more women than men.
Oh,
at this
10 to 1
at this event.
Yeah,
so
easily.
If you've ever, females out there, you've experienced a women's restroom line before, it's painful, literally, figuratively, and so a group of women decided to take over the men's restroom, which we were all singing their praises.
Yeah, when you say take over, we just mean share, because it didn't mean that we kicked the guys out.
No.
It meant that the 4 men who were there at the concert
got to use the urinals
right beside us.
Literally. And so we were in line in the men's restroom, and a guy walked up and put his arm around us, and it was one of my best friends from high school. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes, yes.
I was he was there with his wife, and I thought, this is it. We're all in the bathroom together. We're all doing the things together. When it as adults has that moment happened?
Yeah.
Not since high school, you know?
So one of the most exciting moments of the concert for me was the countdown clock that was counting down to midnight. I think it started at, was it 30 seconds or 2 minutes?
2 minutes. 2 minute countdown.
You were in line for our disco ball cocktails.
For the drinks.
And I think at 2 minutes, I was like, get out of line and get your butt over here. You do not want to miss it. The countdown is happening.
Well,
I didn't know the clock was there.
And what's funny is when that countdown started, this girl runs up to the line and she's like, 2 minutes! And the whole line left.
Yeah.
And so I was able to get the drinks because everyone left.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So that was a really fun moment. I think anytime there's a countdown to something exciting, whether it's like New Year's Eve, ball drop or whatever, it's an instant excitement builder. But the other thing is that she plays 2 specific songs during that countdown. One is Lady Gaga's Applause. Remember? Or was that just playing?
I think that was just playing. It's "Don't tell me what to do."
Yes.
And don't tell me what
I haven't heard why that song was chosen.
It reminds me of First Wives Club. Do you remember that scene
It's
from that
a little
movie?
haunting.
Do you remember that scene from that movie?
No, I haven't seen it.
Diane Keaton, I think Bette Midler, and they're literally like divorcing their husbands, and they're singing that, and they're like, "Don't tell me what to do."
Well, honestly, now that I think about the lyrics, it's probably more of Taylor's middle finger to
For sure.
the machine.
1,000%.
Yeah, which is what a lot of her songs are about. But anyway, so that countdown happened. By the time that clock got to 10 and we were at the 10-second countdown, I was losing my freaking mind. I felt like I was 15 again, singing, my favorite artist ever. I mean, my heart was beating so fast and my blood was racing.
Your blood was racing.
Yes, my blood was racing through my veins. It was a very thrilling moment.
Yeah, and then just how it started. I don't know if you remember, was it Lavender Haze, right?
It was a little montage of a lot of different songs.
The costuming, the choreography, the large feather situations that were like bowing, and it was...
Yeah, was it? And I think, is it 4 or 3 hours? Or
3?
40 songs? Something.
7, 8, 9, 10.
She sings so much. And we won't go over every single detail because I know it's probably like someone talking about
their wedding.
Yeah, like, detail by detail.
Did you say I do? Yes, you did. Okay, moving on.
Yeah, but I will say this: I've never experienced anything like it, and I thought what she did, like you said, from costuming to the way that she worked that stage, which was so massive. Her background dancers, the screens were incredible
Unreal.
to me. I don't know that I've been to a concert where there is such a generous use of screenings that bring you into the experience, no matter where you're sitting in the stadium.
Yeah, you didn't feel, because I don't know if we want to jump to our next location we went to.
Not yet.
But you didn't feel far away. What I will say about Houston is we did not know how close we were.
Yeah.
We didn't realize.
But we also weren't close.
We were in Lower Bowl in Houston.
Well, but we weren't on the floor.
No, but we were in like the lower section. So it was like
Yes.
floor, lower bowl, mid, upper. We were
Yeah, we had
bottom
good seats.
4th or bottom 5th.
Yeah.
Last row, but still. But it was, you didn't feel far from her. And in that spreadsheet, I think, or maybe it was on Instagram, there was something floating around about the percentage of time she is on each part of the stage. I mean, it's like, what?
Full breakdown of her concert.
Yeah, I was like, she's 20% on the T. She's 19% on the
Yeah.
L. Like, I mean, y'all know.
I did spend most of the time watching the screens just because it's kind of like going to a football game at the Cowboys Stadium. You don't really watch the players on the field. You watch the screens because it's giving you a better view. But it was still so amazing. And, one of the things that we did was we found her set list on Spotify. So we were using it as a bathroom guide.
Yeah,
because I was trying to figure out what songs I was willing to sacrifice to go to the bathroom. And honestly, it was a sacrifice because I didn't want to miss a single thing. Even the songs I didn't know, we stood up the whole time. At that point, I didn't know all of the songs. I'd heard them all, but I couldn't sing them all. But the songs that I did know, there is something powerful about that shared experience with music and a shared goal around a shared passion when you're singing word for word at the same time. Our neighbor, or the people sitting beside us became like instant friends because of that.
And I remember you saying this too, like when we went back, one of the things we were wanting to know was the lyrics. And she has such robust word choice. I was thinking about this, familiarity breeds contempt. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
That is such a strong statement. And you just toss it into a song that I was impressed with the fans that knew every word.
Every word.
I'm like,
word for word.
These aren't easy words, gals.
They're not. I still try so hard to this day to remember every word to a single song, and I can't do it. I can get about 80%. But yeah, her gift of song lyricism, I don't know if that's the right word, or songwriting, is next level. I've never seen an artist do what she has done with lyrics and present it in a way that makes it mainstream and relevant to everyone, even though they're based out of her specific stories. That's such a hard thing to do musically.
Well, one of the things I know you love about your dad, and I appreciate about your dad, is he selects words. You can tell in how he speaks. He's being very selective.
And he says so much with so little.
She's the same way.
Yeah. And you can listen to a lyric and hear it for the first time every time you hear it. It hits different depending on season, depending on what mood you're in. And sometimes even now, even to this day, I listen to the Midnight's album almost exclusively when I'm working long hours in the office.
Towards midnight.
Sometimes. I can hear those words over and over again, and it feels like the first time for many of the lyrics of the songs. It's kind of incredible the way that it sort of keeps unfolding in terms of what it means.
Yeah.
So anyway, I do want to say, just to kind of wrap up the Houston experience, if we weren't Swifties before, there's no way we were leaving that event without becoming one. I find it hard to believe that anyone could attend a concert and not walk away with at least a deeper appreciation of the artist that she is, but also what she has created.
And I'll say this, I have been around entertainers. I think we all have now, but growing up, definitely, she is an entertainer. She might not, there's always feedback, she's not a dancer. Okay, neither is Adele, but you are still locked in, right? Like, I think there's a moment where it's like they have to dance, sing, act, stand on their head, do fireworks, know how to edit a video, like too much. And it's like, this is a talented, deep well of a human being.
Okay, I'm going to challenge you on that word just a little bit. Okay. Because I feel like I could name a lot of entertainers. Beyonce is an entertainer.
Oh, yeah, we've talked about this. Yes.
Lady Gaga is an entertainer. Garth Brooks literally has won Entertainer of the Year, I think, more than any other country artist. I think entertainer even diminishes what she does.
Yeah, it's like she's an experience.
She has an experience. I just want to say, though, she is an artist in every sense of the word, in entertainment, in songwriting, in performance, in singing, in building community. Yes. The way that what she has done is that she's created her own lane in such a way that no other artist after her, and I will say no other artist before her, has been able to stand and navigate this lane the way that she has.
Would you call her a mastermind?
I think so, because I do think a lot of what she does is strategic. Like, she knows where she's going before she even gets there.
1,000%.
So it does make her a little bit of a strategist as well. She is the machine. She's not owned by the machine anymore, which I think is why she's worked so hard to get her music back, is because she has stepped into the reality that she is her own machine. Yeah. Like, she's creating the thing. So all that to say, we left that concert. I think it took a full 6 weeks before I woke up without a Taylor Swift song in my head. At one point, I even texted someone that I knew was a Swiftie, and I kind of said to her, almost in desperation, when will I stop waking up singing Taylor Swift songs?
Never.
And she said, oh, it'll take months.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm sure in a romance novel, there's a phrase for like the afterburn.
Oh.
Or something like that.
It's like a bad deodorant.
Maybe. It's like something that you can't get out of your system.
Your pores.
Yeah. You can't sweat it out. There was nothing else.
It's like garlic and tzatziki. It just stays with you.
Yes.
Yes.
I think my family thought I had some kind of...
You broke.
Yeah, mental breakdown, because I just came home and it was... All I wanted to do was talk about it or play the music or being in my room, laying on my bed with my headphones.
You're like a fifth grader.
I know.
In the 80s.
It was
my Walkman.
Unreal.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I think we left different in a great way. I know for me personally, I was just inspired. And I use that word realistically. Like, I've got more in the tank. You just gave, Taylor Swift, you just gave so much.
I remember somebody kind of messaged me personally after and in those moments that I was professing my undying love to Taylor Swift. And basically it was a very challenging question, very poorly worded, if I'm being perfectly honest. But she basically said, is your obsession with Taylor Swift as great as your
love for God?
Love for God.
Okay.
Something like that. basically saying it feels out of balance.
Interesting question.
Well, a very judgmental question,
Sure.
especially if
Player hating from the sidelines.
right, you haven't been on the field, lady, and also you're looking at highlights.
One part of
my
your life.
right? Which is always a poor way to make general.
We need to quit that.
I know, we've got to stop. But anyway, I will say this. Did I feel like there was a worship-like component at that concert? Yes. But
Sure.
it wasn't of Taylor Swift.
You been to a football game?
Right. It in the same way that collective experience, singing and having that moment transcend and also unify all of us at the same time. What you just said about it provoking and unlocking and inspiring a deeper level of creativity on our parts, recognition of like, wow, this God-made woman.
Let's not forget.
with this God-given talent.
That's right.
Is sharing her gift in a way that is truly empowering and inspiring and unifying people. And that is, that felt very creator-centered, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's no way to have that experience and not be pulled into this gratitude for who she is, how she was made, and how she was gifted.
Yeah, when you get to witness someone in their element, when everything is lining up, their vision, their values, their passion, their skill, it's a majestic, awe-inspiring moment, and you get to decide what you do with that. You know, and
if you want to be threatened, if you want your own faith threatened by what you see people experiencing and doing at a concert, that's yours to wrestle with.
Yeah.
Because what I can say is on our side of things, no satanic rituals.
Fair.
I do not wear, I have not taken my cross necklace off and replaced it with a Swiftie, only because I've never worn a cross necklace. So it's just the Swiftie necklace.
It's just, there was no replacement because I've only had the Swiftie necklace next to my.
Guys, Jesus is in my heart. Taylor is on my chest.
There it is. Next to my Cuban links.
That's right.
So fast forward to a very few days later.
Yes. The, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like the
Afterglow?
Maybe. It's like the Taylor Swift Afterburn or something.
After effect?
Afterglow. Let's go with that.
Okay.
The afterglow of Taylor lingered.
After hours?
No.
Aftermath?
No. I'm sure she's written about it.
After
the lavender haze.
After the show, there's the hotel lobby. After the lobby, there's the hotel party.
The lavender haze hung over my head and my heart for way too many days. And we made one of the most impulsive decisions I think I've ever made in my life.
Yeah, because it really wasn't that many days. We were there.
Fever pitch. That's the word. The fever pitch.
Oh, Jonesin?
Sure.
Maybe. I didn't quite do it.
No.
Okay. Well, we were in Houston on April 22nd.
Okay.
And then just a mere 6 days later.
Is that really true? 6 days? Oh, that's embarrassing.
We were in Nashville for an event for work.
Yeah.
And
still talking about Taylor Swift.
Still talking about Taylor Swift. And on the 28th, she was in Atlanta.
Which we did look it up just for fun. I think it was like a joke. Like, oh, is she going to be anywhere near Nashville? We should go see her again.
Yeah. Oh, she's 3 hours from here.
She was 3 hours, which was the same amount of time that we drove
to Houston. Can't you see the justification happening in our brains? And that, oh my gosh, is this the Lord?
Yeah.
I think so. I think so.
You kept looking at tickets to see if there was anything remotely affordable.
Reasonable.
Yeah.
Because the first round of tickets, I would wake up at like 2 and 3 in the morning and like they would drop for some reason. And I grabbed those. So these were, if let's say our baseline for our previous tickets were $10, these other tickets were like $20.
And let's just be clear. $10, add 2 more zeros.
Yeah.
And we're there.
2 more zeros. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, they in a mere 6 days, what we paid in Houston had gone up by a significant amount.
Yeah. And we found that to be true for every concert.
It just kept happening.
Yes, because every concert was like the last of that location and meant fewer other opportunities to see her, plus social media and the way that people were posting about her. So it just drove up prices. I even heard that people were purchasing tickets as an investment, a financial investment. Almost like a bettor or a day trader, where they would buy tickets when they would drop only to sell them.
Well, okay, so side story. We kind of did that because remember we had those 2 extras in Houston, and I started sweating because I had these obscene tickets that I had to resell, and with fees, I did not make the monies.
Yeah. Make it back. We bought 4 tickets
I broke even
originally.
Yes.
To try to decide which seats that we wanted, knowing that we could sell to. And I do want to pause here because we tried to gift
those tickets,
one of my daughters,
to one of your progeny.
Yeah, to tickets to the Taylor Swift concert. I know there were people that were like, "Why didn't you take your kids?" I did try. I offered a ticket to her.
Sounds like Club Landry.
And she couldn't really decide.
Yeah.
She was very ambivalent about going. And
I think the seed had just been planted in her heart and it had not bloomed.
yes. And then I was like, okay, well, what about if we give you both tickets? We'll let you take a friend. It'll be your Christmas gift because it was so expensive.
And I was like, which friend?
Later, we found out that she felt bad for how much the tickets cost and therefore didn't want to take them. I was on the other end saying, gosh, if you aren't doing backflips by the very offer of this, then you don't deserve to go because you don't want it enough.
Right.
So we
all learned from that moment.
Yes. I mean, anybody's offering me a Taylor Swift ticket, I'm saying yes, and I'm moving hell and high water to go. Period.
Yeah.
Full send.
So between those 6 days, I remember sending you a text and I said, I've just listened to Midnight's top to bottom and I have a lot more questions. We got to go back.
Yeah.
So we're in Tennessee. We find ourselves finding tickets. We had a range and we were unwilling to go outside of this range, above this range. And we kept just refreshing. And I remember I was like, okay, these 2 dropped within our range. We actually ended up getting them and they weren't real. Do you remember that? The people couldn't produce the tickets. They just were trying to
sell fake tickets,
which was annoying. So then I had to go. We went back to the refresh. They dropped in the range again, and we snagged them.
Got it. And I will say that was a moment where I had to ask for forgiveness, not permission, from the Cody Beeler.
But also, it was my birthday present.
It was.
Do you remember that?
I mean, we were trying to justify it however we could. I was like, okay, it'll be my birthday and Christmas and Mother's Day for the next year. The bottom line is that we paid more for the second set of tickets with worse seating.
Yes, we did.
Than the first concert.
Yeah.
I remember calling Cody from Nashville and basically just leaving him a voice text or a text message that said, I'm really sorry, but here's what I've done, and I'm going.
How'd that go?
Well, it was a voice text, so I didn't actually have to hear his response. And it gave him time to think about
what he was going to say.
Yes. So I think I kind of got a ha-ha.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
But I don't regret it.
No. So we hop in the car.
I needed the second time because I don't think I really knew what the first time was going to be.
1,000%.
And so the second time was even better because I knew more songs.
Yes.
I knew more lyrics.
We knew what was coming.
I went as the Reputation era.
Yes.
Instead of
we made some new friends. We were on the side, basically the side behind the stage, and we still loved it.
Yeah.
We were like on an offshoot section.
Now this was the Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Which wasn't our favorite because the light was coming in.
Yeah, it was bright the
Totally
whole
different
time.
experience.
It was.
There were some really sweet 10-year-olds behind us who knew every word, were fully dressed. And
cried the whole time.
They were hysterically crying for the first 60 minutes, could not compose themselves.
And there were a couple of songs where Taylor drops the F-bomb. And
they said them.
We turned around to see if they were going to say those words, and they did.
Angela goes, look to see if they say that word. And we both at the same time they're saying the words.
And look, moms out there, I know it's disappointing for an artist to say those words at a concert when she knows the kids are going to be there. Even my husband, we were listening to Taylor Swift, of course, when we were driving somewhere, and he was like, I'm not judging her. He's like, he knew better than to judge her in front of me, but he was like, she actually does say more curse words than what I thought.
Mm-hmm. Especially recently.
Right. And what I told him was, okay, she does. But we also have to remember she's 30 plus years old.
Yeah, she's not on the Disney Channel.
No, and for what she is writing about, because she is so intentional with her word choices, I'm assuming that sometimes in those places of pain or anger, that was the only right word for that. It just would not have the power or the effect if she had said like, freak.
Yeah, dang it.
Shoot. Gosh.
Sugar. Gosh darn it. Heck.
So it always feels appropriate for me, but I also know that she does have clean versions of some of those songs. She just doesn't choose to use them at the concert.
So let me ask you, Angela, the second time around, the afterburn is in effect. You're riding the fuel of the afterburn into the stadium. What was different for you about round 2 than round 1?
Well, I can tell you one thing. Was round 1, I had on the most uncomfortable pair of boots. And so
that's a problem.
Second time I did my Reputation outfit, and it was all black and like pleather pants, pleather joggers actually. And I wore tennis shoes, and it changed
everything.
My life.
Mm-hmm. Your lower back thanks you.
Welcome to mid-40s, guys.
Yeah.
These are the things that matter. I don't know. What about you?
Well, I mean, other than the shoes.
Oh, I think I just loved that I knew more words. Mm-hmm. I wasn't as desperate to like soak in every moment. I knew when it was going to end. I knew the parts that I loved. I knew the parts that I was willing to sit down for. Mm-hmm. I went from being a newbie to an expert, and so you kind of can take a more laid back approach in that scenario.
I remember when we were Marjorie. Mm-hmm. Do you remember when everyone put their lights up?
Yeah. Oh, because it's about her grandmother?
Yes. And that wasn't planned.
No, and the audience went wild for about 6 minutes straight. Mm-hmm. They all just kept yelling, and Taylor had to quit singing, and she just like soaked it in.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Well, with Marjorie, everyone put their like phones out with like a light, and because about her grandmother who had passed, and she got emotional.
Yeah.
She was like, I was not expecting that. Thank y'all.
Yeah. So. Again, one of those culture or fan planned moments that was really special.
Yeah.
I think I will always remember, as we start to wrap up here, I will always remember my highlight of both concerts would be the singing of the 10-minute version of All Too Well at Houston.
Yes.
I think the first time was just a little bit more special because it was the first, but I knew all the words.
Yes.
Still do. I freaking obsessed with that song. But being in the midst of everyone who also knew all the words, I have video for it, and it went semi-viral on my Instagram. But yeah, that'll be a highlight for me.
Yeah, the vigilante-ish.
Oh yeah,
that was
the chair dancing.
That was substantial. That was substantial. Because I ran to the bathroom in Houston, and I'm run back, so I'm behind the curtain, and I'm like kind of waiting to go down because I don't want to be annoying and like light the area, and so I remember you're like, you missed all of it. I was like, no, I saw it, but I like didn't see it. And then I saw it in Atlanta.
Yeah, she does this pretty provocative chair routine. It's the only part of her concert that I would say, if you're a parent and you've got littles, I mean, that might be a moment that I would say take your kids to the bathroom. But
yeah,
I want to give her the artistic freedom. She's, again, a 30-year-old woman.
Girl.
Go for it.
Why
Do
not?
it. But yeah, that was a pretty steamy moment for Taylor Swift, but I love that she owned it. I love that she embraces not just her identity, but her sexual identity too, and takes us along on the journey of all of her all of her lovers.
Yeah.
And
we have a new one apparently.
More power to her, Taylor.
Old Travis.
Well, I do. Yeah, we can. That'll be part 2 if we ever want to talk about Taylor's lovers. But
yeah, and just how we're so thankful that she's letting everyone borrow her stadiums to play football.
Yes,
that's very sweet.
That is so nice of her. She's given the NFL their turn.
She has.
Yeah, she's been very selfless in that. Anyway, I don't know if we have opened your eyes or your hearts to the power of Taylor Swift and why she is such a gravitational force, but what I do know is this, refit, and one of the things that motivates us and inspires us all the time is when we see women stepping into their identities, taking up the fullness of who they were called to be and who they were meant to be in this world, but then also turning it around and sharing those gifts with the world. And what I can draw a correlation between is Taylor Swift is that one. She knows who she is. She knows her power. She's responsible with it, and she empowers others. And so for those reasons...
So do you.
Well, I was going to say, so does Refit. And so for those reasons alone, whether you like her music, whether you don't, whether you think she's a good moral character or not, I think what she has done for her community and the voice that she's given women, both young and, old, it is truly inspiring. And that's what we hope to do via Refit. And I'm thankful for our very small platform to do it. And thankful for a platform like Taylor's because it gives me inspiration. It gives me something to aspire to. And I hope that people who participate in the 10 for Taylor Challenge or even the fitness concert feel a little bit of that experience that we shared at the Taylor Swift concerts.
Yeah. I hope that they, like you said, they have a sense of inspiration and then can go and turn and give that out to someone else.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, I wanted to end with a Taylor Swift quote, but I can't think of one right now. You want to do another concert? You want to leave us with a
song?
tune?
Why don't you sing for the group? What's your favorite song right now? What's just a jam off of Midnight? You're just like,
Dear Reader.
Okay.
That's
I
an
thought you were
obscure
gonna go,
song.
Come with my boyfriend.
No,
Or you
no,
went,
no.
Dear Reader.
I probably would do something from All Too Well.
Oh yeah. What's your favorite line out of that?
You're putting me on the spot.
I'm sorry.
And you know how hard it is to come up with
I know
music
when
lyrics when
someone's-
there is no song.
Yeah. We need to have
Give me just a second.
songs like, what is this?
No, that's not going to help. I walked through the door with you. The air was cold. Something about it felt like home somehow. And
There you go. Hey. Well, there you go. I like it.
And I know it's long gone and the magic's not here no more. And I might be okay, but I'm not fine at all. Yeah. All too well. It was red. I was there.
That's the line that you screamed out.
I screamed them all because I know all the
Here we
words.
are again in the-
Loved you so.
That one was it.
Back before I lost the one true thing you ever known. It was red. I was there. Something, something. All too well. Yeah. That underscores the problem with Taylor's lyrics. You can't sing them without her.
You really can't. She's created a dependency. Good for her.
Codependent on Taylor.
Yeah.
We love you guys. See you in the challenge. See you at the fitness concert. Thanks for tuning in for this special pro bono. No, that means free. Oh, gosh.
Bonus.
Bonus content.
The after dark. Afterglow.
Glow.
Afterglow.
The Afterglow.
The Afterglow.
See you on the flip side. Thanks for tuning in.